My name is Brenda Pratt. I serve as senior pastor at Global Worship Center. I've been married for 28 years, and the Lord has blessed me with 3 beautiful daughters. My eldest daughter is 26, then I have a 20-year-old and a 14-year-old.
My name is Reverend Dr. Hilda Louise Simonette. I'm married to Bishop Michael C. Simonette, and we have 5 children, 3 boys and 2 girls.
My name is Orient Edgecombe. I'm a mother of 2, and I'm also the director of Over the Rainbow Academy preschool.
My name is Cheryl Carroll. I am a Chief Probation Officer within the Department of Rehabilitative Welfare Services under the Ministry of Social Services and Community Development. I am married to Reverend Dr. Anthony Jeffrey Carroll. We have 3 sons and a granddaughter.
I am really elated for the opportunity to be a mother. It's a blessing. I believe that mothering is a blessing from the Lord. And what I enjoy most about being a mother is that I get an opportunity to pour myself into 3 beautiful daughters. And so I see a lot of my traits, of course, as well as my husband's traits in them. But the Lord has given me that opportunity where on a day-to-day basis, I'm able to see them grow and mature and see some of my giftings come out to even a greater dimension. And so I love that opportunity, just being able to mold and to mentor on a one-on-one basis, and personally, someone who lives with you, because a lot of the mentoring experiences, the individuals might not necessarily live with you, but my 3 daughters, they live with us, and so we get an opportunity to just pour ourselves into them.
I love children, and so it was like just a pleasure for me I cherished those children, and it was just a pleasure for me to have them in the home and to take care of them and to see that they grow up in the fear and in the admonition of the Lord.
I enjoy being a mom, spending time with my children, disciplining them, teaching them new things, teaching them manners, how to get along with others, how to share, how to care, and how to be good kids.
There's nothing in the world like a mother's love.
Well, with my daughters, I want to say, first of all, in addition to training them, I think a key aspect of what the Lord enabled me to do was to really pray for them, and from a very young age, just continually declaring the word of God over their lives and who it is that God called them to be. Now, in regards to raising them in the society that we live in and causing them to, or encouraging them to stick to godly principles, that's not been a difficult thing for me. I think that we both as parents, as a mother, as well as my husband as a father, set a great example for them. But from time to time, we have our little chats, wisdom words, nuggets that you have to give them. In particular, when you see there's a kind of straying away with the dress, and those things can be quite alluring. And so from time to time, as a mother, I have to say, listen, do you see your mother dressing like that? Or do you see your mother doing this? And so just reminding them of the godly values and the godly principles that they've been birthed into. And we have tried our best to raise them according to those godly principles and values.
The mothers today, they have to really buckle up, because in our day, our parents would speak to us and like we were more obedient children. Whatever mother would say to do, we would go on and do it. And the parents today, some of them do not set good examples for their children. Um, in the homes today, you have a lot of cursing. Parents would curse at their children, and it's bad for them because when they grow up and maybe get married, these same children would treat their children just like that. They would be cursing at them. Some parents would beat them severely and everything like that, and they would believe that this is the way that they should treat their children. But if we seek to love our children, discipline them when it's necessary, not cruelly. That's another thing we find, that some parents, they get mad to discipline the children, and then they end up to a certain extent hurting them. But I remember so well my father. I can't ever say that he ever punished me with a stick or a belt, so to speak. But what he did, if I did something wrong, he would take me in the room and he would counsel me, and I would end up crying and promise to do better. Now my mother, she would get to see the switch. Sometimes if you go out the yard and don't let her know, she would get to see the switch and she will switch you on the leg. But they never punished me severely. And so I think if the parents today try to set good examples for the children, love the children, seek to bring them up in the fear and in the admonition of the Lord, that they can become better children.
Raising a God-fearing child in today's society is very important, I believe, because it gives them the foundation that is needed, the biblical foundation, a spiritual foundation that is needed in today's society with so many challenges that is happening around. It gives them a foundation. And I think teaching them about God and the principles of the Word will really help them in today's society. As parents, we are definitely the role model. Children are like sponges. They suck in everything that they see. So if we are the role model and they gravitate and imitate what we do as parents, then for the most part, you would see them doing the things that we do, saying the things that we say. And so we are responsible then for being examples for them. The type of example that we desire, it's no longer you do what I say and not what you see me do. It's more they are doing what they see you do as an example. And so we need that role model. We ought to be role model. And if we are having challenges, particularly if we are single parents, there are so many ways that we can get assistance. We have brothers, we have sisters, we have aunts, uncles, we have organizations within the community, we have persons that we can go to. We have churches, persons that we can go to help with our children, to help mold them, to help guide them, to help steer them in the right direction. And a lot of people talk about Google. Go online. You also can get some suggestions, some help from line, spiritual and non-spiritual.
I thank God for my parents who took time out to train me in the fear and in the admonition of the Lord. And now they are gone on, and I have the opportunity to do the same thing for my children. And they would always attend church service. We have devotions in the home, and I have one special one who enjoy praying, and we never allow them to pray just the Our Father prayers, but they prayed their own prayers. And it was a joy when the morning come to hear them praying just what was on their mind. Sometimes they talked about the dog and the hog, and they talked about the teacher and everything like that. But it was a great joy to bring them up in the fear and in the admonition of the Lord.
Through the heartache and the pain, it was her love that still remained.
I believe that there are consequences. We were, I believe, put on this earth to serve God. That's my personal belief as a Christian, as a believer. And because we were put here to serve God, and He has blessed us with the gifts of children, I believe it is our responsibility to follow His mandate, His manual, His course, His direction for raising godly, responsible children, and that is the Word of God. The foundation, I believe, is the Word of God. The Word of God then gives us those moral principles, those characters, those things that will help them to grow up to be responsible individuals. Yes, things of the world they learn as well, but I think the foundation of the Word gives them everything that they need.
Her love is gonna shine through everything. Oh.
Somewhat, but I believe it goes back to the home. Charity begins at home. And whatever you teach your children at home, they will display it when they go outside. We cannot just depend on others or the school to raise our children. We have to do that first at home, and then it will show and display when they go out in society.
Well, it's very important to, first of all, set an example. Godly example is important, but we realize that maybe not everyone who's listening to this telecast might have that godly heritage, but it's very important that you are that first role model that your children can look at. In particular with me, I have 3 daughters, so it's very important that they can see my life as a role model, a reference point that from time to time they can look back on and see that their mother was this type of woman. And so you've left a legacy, even though you're still alive. There's a legacy, there's an indelible impression that you have upon your children, in particular daughters, so that they too now can live that exemplary life that you've lived in front of them.
One thing they have to do, if they would study God's word, you should not provoke the children to wrath, and you should be more patient with them, because what you're doing to them, they're going to do the same thing back to their children, if they have any children. You have to tolerate them a bit, and you have to show love to them and let them know that you're not doing this just because you can do it. Because I'm the mother, and I will beat the devil out of you, but you're trying to correct them so that when they get older, they would be able to know how to handle their children and would not be as rough upon them.
You really need to turn to God. I know that might sound like a fetish or, just a saying that we use, but I have proven in my life as a mother that He's been my source. He's been my comfort. He's been the healer. He's been the provider. Even though I'm married, but because of my relationship with God, it's really helped me in my journey and in my course of mothering my children. And so I would really encourage you to really turn to the Lord. Look for a godly model, a woman that you can look at and just really see some qualities in her that you would want to duplicate in your life. And so find that godly model of a mother and a woman who you can look at and just duplicate your life from her perspective and apply it to your personal life.
Motherhood calls for responsibilities. And so for someone who is considering being a mother, yeah, that is a noble thing. That being a mother is a noble thing. It's a good thing. It's a responsibility that gives us the opportunity to raise a responsible and a responsible young man or young woman. But I think you ought to be prepared for it. Because if you're not prepared, the child goes through stages of development. And if you're not prepared for the various developmental stages and the things that happen within children's lives, then it's going to be a difficult feat for you. So I believe you ought to prepare for it. You can prepare by going to classes, you can prepare by reading books, you can prepare by talking to other persons who are parents. So I don't think it's something that you should take lightly just because it may be a fad, or because it seems as if everyone is doing it, or because my biological clock is ticking. But I think it's something that you should seriously give thought to, because it's another human being that you're going to be impacting their lives for life.
Because you find girls are 14, 15, 16, and they're moms, and they don't have the slightest bit of experience or what it is or what it takes to be a mom, and they leave them to be other people's responsibility, the school again, the neighbors, and they haven't had a chance to be a child or enjoy their lives themselves, so they tend to just leave the children and leave them to be somebody else's responsibility. So age is a major factor. I feel you should wait until you're old enough, mature enough before you have kids and you're ready to settle down and teach them right from wrong.
I sense that one of my greatest challenges as a mother, first of all, was my mother passed away at a very early age. I was only 6 years old. So the transition of moving from one country to another country and having to adapt to a new environment. And then when I became a mother myself, not having those experiences to share with my children in terms of moments that I would have spent with my mother would have been, I think, a challenge for me. And so a lot of times they would ask questions, well, how did you feel when this took place in your life, or when you had this particular occasion in your life? And so that was a bit challenging emotionally, I guess I would say. But in terms of general challenges, I would say maybe providing as much as I would have wanted to from a financial perspective for them. But because I'm a faith-based person and a faith-based mother, my dependence and really faith was in God. Another challenge I would say would have been financial challenges, being able to really give my children or my daughters the financial resources that were needed. But because I'm a woman of faith and believe in God, I've just seen God provided for them, provided for us, where the children were provided for. And so I would say that would have been another challenge, but God is faithful in that regard.
From my experience with the way how my parents reared me and the way that I read my children, I don't see where they need to do too much changing. To me, it would be good if they would try the old-time way rather than today. Just allow the children to do as they feel like, allow them to curse at them even, and try the old-time way. To me, is still the best way.
One of the biggest challenge, I'm thinking about my son now. They just don't listen. They just like to do things their way, and when they get into trouble, then they come, oh, mommy, I know you told me this, but I didn't think that was the right way to do this, or that is the right way to do that. And they do what they want to do, and at the end of the day, they come right back to you and have to apologize for what it is you've been telling them not to do all along, or trying to teach them. That was my challenge with my son. He'd always want to do things his way. He realized and finds out that it's the wrong way, then he has to come right back to me, and we try to correct it. Well, inside, I would be frustrated, I'd be upset. But then I would just go back to him and correct him and show him and teach him the right way and tell him he needs to listen to his mom, because I've been here far longer than he's been, and I have experienced a lot of these things. That's why I'm trying to keep him from going and making the same mistakes in society or wherever it is he ends up.
Her love is gonna shine through everything. Oh.
The way how I think a wise woman would build her house is trying to make sure that Christ is the head of that home. And if they seek to, in that home, the children should find time for devotions, time for saying grace, and the parents have to be there for the children. We find that in many instances, the children are left all alone. You have to take time out to rear these children in the way that they should go. So when they are old, they will not depart from it. And I like to use the expression that you sow that spiritual seed in them while they are young. Yes, sometimes they may stray away, but once you have given them that seed, God is able to take that seed and bring them back. But if you don't train them as they should be trained, some of those children will go and never come back when they are old. So we have to take time out and train them up. And when you do this, you will find that they would be a blessing to you. Just recently, you may have heard that Bishop Simonette was ill, and we almost lost him. But I have 5 children, and those children, they came around, they took time out to, they said that each one of them would come on a daily basis to do different things. And it gave me a joy to see them coming around and playing a part and doing whatever they could do for their father while he was ill. And it just gave me a great joy to see them in motion. And today, truly, my 5 children have really been a blessing to me, and I want to thank God for them. I wrote a poetry book. I have a poem book. In it, I have a poem that I wrote for my parents, and then I have another poem in here.
I would just like to take this final opportunity to encourage mothers to be mothers and good mothers. Spend time with your children, quality time. Teach them to do the right things. Not just put them to bed or give them a bath, go to bed and leave it up to somebody else, the teacher again, or the principal or somebody, but teach them, spend time with them. Children will always remember the things that you would have done with them when they were younger and as they grew older. When they grow older, they will remember those things versus you not spending the quality time and putting time in with them. I encourage you, take time out, spend time with your children. They will always remember the mall that you took them to. They will always remember you took them to the beach. Children will always remember quality time that you would have spent with your children.
My final words of encouragement would be, of course, wishing you a happy Mother's Day. And when we say happy, realizing that your happiness does not depend on your circumstance, your present circumstance, but the joy. Allow that joy to really resonate in your life, the joy of the Lord. And so just to encourage you to hold the faith, don't become weary in well-doing, don't give up. Have that mindset that you're not going to give up, you're not going to quit, you're not going to throw in the towel. Weeping may endure for the night, but joy comes in the morning. And so I want to encourage you to hang in there, hold on to God's unchanging hand, and watch Him work on your behalf.
Parents, take time out to train your children in the fear and admonition of the Lord. Don't expect them to be godly if you are not godly. That's not going to work. You have to set the example for your children to follow. And if you will do this, God will help you to raise them in the fear and in the admonition of the Lord. A tribute to my parents. My parents have lived unselfishly, and I am glad, for they have tried in their small way to help those who came to their door. When my sister and I were growing up, missionaries came and stayed with us for weeks, and they were entertained at my parents' expense with the greatest care, honor, and ease. My parents took in many children who just wanted to live with us, for they found them to be kind and loving and caring as they could be. My mother taught many people in our island how to sew, and many children would always follow her wherever she would go. I'm thankful to God for my parents who have taught me right the way I should go, and I salute them very dearly, for they are great, Their names may never be written in a book, and their good works may never be told, but I'm sure if they are faithful, they will enter heaven's fold. As they are growing older and their lives are fading away, I'm sure a sweet rest will await them when they come to the end of their way. My father has had many hardships and difficulties on every side, but he is determined by the grace of God to reach the promised land. My mother has been very sickly and many times ready to die, but God has endured her with much patience in order for her to survive. The people of Sandy Point should salute these two people for the work that they have done in helping to make our island a better place for everyone. They have helped in the church and lodges and in communities as a whole. They will forever live on in the lives of men when their work on earth is done. They have gone on to heaven to receive their great reward. They have served with love and dignity and are now resting in the bosom of the Lord. I would like to close with this song. If I can help somebody as I pass along, if I can show somebody he is traveling wrong, if I can show somebody he is traveling wrong, then my living shall not be in vain. Then my living shall not be in vain. No, my living shall not be in vain. If I can help somebody as I pass along, then my living shall not be in vain. I say, Happy Mother's Day to everyone. May God bless you.